I have a message from the village Jedi.
Max Rebo, hit it! Hello there! Welcome back to a special Star Wars point of view brought to you by the local village Jedi. My name is Marina, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're not, welcome back. This weekend is for the history books. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie just came out yesterday. I am on my way to see it. I'm going to see it in T-minus 3 hours, so I wanted to get out an episode just for you guys right in the nick of time. Happy Friday, everyone out there, including to myself. Happy Friday, Marina. Why, thank you. A couple announcements. I saw this really cool TikTok. I reposted it, and it was by a creator named Simon. And it's now this trend going around. I'm sure you guys have probably seen it if you're on social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, that people are using parts from the plumbing and electrical department of hardware stores to put together their own lightsabers. And so I saw this, I reposted it on my TikTok page, and he outlines the pieces that you need specifically to make his lightsaber, and I just wanted to put that out here on the show because that is what Star Wars is all about. It's kind of random, but it's just something that I wanted to pass along. If it's something that maybe you're interested in, just tinkering a little bit and putting your skills to the test to see what kind of lightsaber hilt that you could make, it just sounded like kind of a fun activity to do, especially as a fandom. We are really in the Star Wars spirit right now. We just came off of a high with the Maul Shadow Lord show, happy May the 4th, and now the Mandalorian and Grogu. So we are all just collectively in the Star Wars spirit. And this just felt like a cool, fun idea that I wanted to pass along to you as a listener in case you are looking for something fun and festive to do this weekend. My second announcement is that we will be doing a Mando movie review next Friday. Since I'm going to be seeing it today, I'm actually seeing it twice. The first time is at 1:30, and then I'm going to go see it again at 8. The second time I watch it, I'm going to be in my pajamas. Right now I'm in my costume. I'm all dolled up, ready to go to the show. But at 8, I'll be in my jammies with my iPad, brightness all the way down, typing away to be able to give you guys a jam-packed movie review. So that will be next Friday. And I think 1 week after the movie comes out is enough time to sort of get into all the spoilers. So it will be all the spoilers, deep dive review. So that's exciting. That will be next week. I understand if you don't want to, listen to that quite yet. You might be busy this weekend, might be busy all next week, and you won't be able to watch it for a while. But please come back. It's going to be a great episode. So that will be next Friday. But as for today, we are going to do a Maul conclusion, sort of a wrap up of some of the aspects of the show that I appreciated, as well as my favorite episode, and then some Mando final thoughts, pre-hype. We are getting into it. Man, I am so excited. Like, I got all dressed up. I'm in my Rey outfit, did my hair. I got my little eye gemmies. Oh my goodness. And we are so excited. So I have like a holster, like a faux leather holster on my hip, and I have my little baby Furby Grogu tucked in there. We're just so excited. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go see it with my brother this afternoon, and then Grant's going to go with me after work tonight. If you can't tell, I am yapping and yammering on because I'm just so pumped today. But we are here to talk about Maul. We are here to talk about what we're going to see going into the movie. We're going to channel all this energy into a Village Jedi Yap session. Happy Friday. But first, let's go ahead and take a brief ad break. Hello there. If you are looking to build your collection, the Village Jedi is now collaborating with Saber Masters to offer you $20 off your first combat-ready laser sword. You heard that correctly, combat-ready. The team at Saber Masters makes it their personal mission to create lightsabers built to last using lightweight polycarbonate blades with customizable settings and simple navigation. Saber Masters has really crafted the ultimate experience. Saber Masters is always offering a great deal for Force users everywhere, but with my code TVJ20, you can save an extra $20 at checkout. Simply type in the code at the checkout screen, TVJ20, and you're done. Link will be in the show notes. I feel as though I need to just take a chill pill right? Like let's just relax. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're trying to do homework, maybe you're working. You don't really want squealing in your ear, or maybe you do. I don't know. But that's kind of what this episode is. It's just a lot of squealing. What I loved about Maul and what I am going to be looking forward to with Mando. We have a lot to yap about with all that out of the way. So first, Maul. We got 10 episodes. Let's go ahead and debrief. A few things I wanted to write down is what exactly did this show give us? I have 4 major concepts that I wrote down that we're going to get into. 10 episodes later, Maul Shadow Lord really did give us fans a piece of history. We experienced history with this show, and that's not even an exaggeration. There were different things that happened in this show that fans have never seen before. That is history, my friends. So this show, I feel, is on the same caliber as Andor as far as storytelling goes, and it really is nothing but incredible. There are nothing but good things I have heard about this show. We as a fandom, it has united us as fans. No matter how you feel about Star Wars, I really do not care. If you watch this show, you give it a fair chance, you can't not enjoy it. And if you didn't enjoy it, please feel free to write in a email. Oh my goodness, girly goo. I totally forgot. Hi, my name is Marina. This is my podcast, The Village Jedi. Just a couple things to get out of the way. See, now I'm tapping into the script. Wow, it really is a crazy day. My brain is in shambles jambles. Feel free to follow me on Instagram or TikTok at The Village Jedi, but if you want to send in a more detailed message about Star Wars media and you want it to be discussed on live, please feel free to send in an email at tvjpod@gmail.com. Perfect. Slay. See? Crazy day. Anyways, this show, if you don't like this show, feel free to send me an email at tvjpod@gmail.com. We will talk about why you don't like that show. I want to have a discussion. Educate me from that side of the fandom. But on the other side of the fandom, this was a piece of history, and we're going to get into it. Number 1, the score. The score for Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord was composed by Kevin Kine. He's the dad. And then his kids, Sean Kiner and Deanna Kiner. Okay, so I guess I didn't put an R on the end of Kevin Kiner. He is also a Kiner. He's the dad. It's the Kiner family. The Kiner family, according to Google, was previously collaborating on other Star Wars projects such as The Clone Wars, Rebels, and Ahsoka. They took inspiration from heavy metal music to craft a darker, more distorted musical soundscape for the series. Now, I get chills when I hear the intro. You can hear Sam Witwer, like he's like yelling there's like this echoing. And then when you think about the inspiration they took, as it says here, that it was like a heavy metal, more dark crafted sound, you see that. If Maul were alive in this galaxy, in this era, he's in the Milky Way, say hi, slay, he would be a heavy metal listener. I'm not going to name bands because I do not listen to that music genre, but if you listen to heavy metal music, just try to imagine it. Would Maul like my music? The answer is probably yes. He also probably likes jazz. Like, if we're being so for real, like on one, he has two personalities. The personality that like gets down to business and gets things taken care of and like he locks in, you know? But then the other personality is like, let's just relax. There's a live band down at my favorite cafe, and I would love for you to accompany me while we discuss this over a game of chess. That is the other side of Maul, the caffeinated Maul, the Maul who had a good night's sleep, the Maul who's, you know, got a handle on life, but then when he feels a little out of control, it's heavy metal mode. So the score that we got for this show, absolutely incredible. I did love that. So that's our first major concept that I absolutely loved. Second one, this show expanded Maul's story because we see this side of his character between the end of the Clone Wars and Rebels. We see he survived Order 66, but then we see him again on Malachor and Rebels. What happened? He pops up randomly in Solo. We're filling in more gaps with this show, and a lot of people, myself included, they go off of this definition as far as what good Star Wars is. How does this story serve the greater story? That's at least how I define what makes Star Wars good. So if I'm like, yeah, that show's good, yeah, that book is good, yeah, that movie's good, because there's aspects of it that filled in gaps of other major Star Wars stories that will now enhance my rewatch, my reread, my re-experience with that story. For example, why do I love Rogue One so much? Why do we all love Rogue One so much? Because it fills in the gaps. When we meet Princess Leia and she has the plans to the Death Star, you're thinking, okay, how did she get those, right? Or you're thinking, how did they know? How did they know that that was the one piece, the one area of the Death Star that had a weakness? How did they know to pinpoint that one place? Okay, they got the plans. Where did they get the plans? And now you have Rogue One, and so when you rewatch the original trilogy, you rewatch A New Hope, it enhances your viewing experience. Same goes for Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. That is a good book, because when you read that book, it enhances your experience watching the entire original trilogy. Same with Revenge of the Sith, Matthew Stover. He did his novelization. When you read it, it enhances your viewing experience for the movie. Same with Bad Batch. Okay, we have this really incredible story with clones. It enhances my experience rewatching Rebels when I meet Wolf and Gregor and Rex and they don't have their chips. Like, what happened? And now I see, like, okay, well, there was this whole rebellion with the clones. You see what I'm saying? This show is good because it fills in the gaps. It enhances your experience whenever you see him on the screen. It enhances your Phantom Menace viewing experience. It enhances the Clone War arcs that we see him take over Mandalore. It enhances everything that we see him in with Rebels and how he deals with Ezra, because now we're seeing parallels with how he's dealing with Devin. This show is good. It enhances the greater story. So I will humbly get off my soapbox. My third concept, why I loved Maul overall, the animation advancements. From Google, we're going to go over this. Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord features a gritty, high stylized, painterly animation style. Whoa. It blends traditional 2D art techniques with modern CGI to create a darker noir atmosphere. The unique visual look combines variant neon aesthetics with deliberate physical textures, moving away from past polished Star Wars looks, such as maybe like Rebels. Key features defining the animation style include 1. Physical textures and paint. Instead of standard digital renders, the background environments resemble concept art or physical oil paintings. Animators filmed actual paintbrush strokes on glass and integrated them directly into effects like smoke, explosion, and dust. This show is good because of its animation advancements. Science has advanced. Art has advanced because of this project. And this was just one key element. Number 1, the physical textures and paints. Number 2, anime-inspired rigs. The 3D character model utilized power rigs that allow for deliberate distortions, forced perspectives, and 2D style stretching during rapid movements and lightsaber duels. Y'all, we can all get on this same page, get in this same boat, get on the train, and fly away with the fact that this show's lightsaber duels are elite. I'm getting tired of saying the word peak, so I've started saying elite, because that's what this is. When we see physical, bro, take a second. Your brain's moving really quick. When we see lightsaber duels, those power exchanges between these characters, and they are as clean as they are, it is because there were developments on the back end, okay? How the shop is run was coming up with new ideas on how to make it happen. Star Wars Incorporated, in their little animation hut, decided to come up with these new ideas on this new project, and therefore it set a new standard for animation going forward. Number 3, they also utilized hyper-expressive facial animation. This was to capture Maul's aggressive and emotional state. Animators studied video references of voice actor Sam Witwer acting out the scenes. For hyperrealism in the face, Witwer literally drew Maul's face tattoos on his own skin so that the animators could study how facial muscles stretch and flex. The dedication. We don't talk about this enough. That's another aspect I just realized while I'm talking about this, why I love this show. Sam Witwer, the main guy, the head honcho, cares. He loves this character, and that comes across in every episode, every frame, every line of dialogue. I don't know if you guys saw this. He would eat green apples to train his voice so that it wouldn't crack during those gritty scenes. He knows what he's doing. He's a professional, but he's also an expert on Maul. He's been playing this character for so long, and now the animators want to take it up a notch and say, hey, not only do we want you to voice this character, we want you to frame this character. What you do with your face to bring out this emotion is what we are going to do on our end. Incredible. You cannot tell me that's not cool or a dream come true. Sam Witwer is the new standard for you made it, right? If you are in a Star Wars project where they are animating your face to be that character, I think they did that with the actor who they went off of for Cal Kestis. How cool does that feel? How cool would that be that you are this character? Sam Witwer and Ray Park, without those two guys, we would not have Maul. Without Sam Witwer, we would not have this Maul. And that's just the facts. So number 4, the fourth thing that they did as far as animation advancements, pulp noir lighting. This show pulls inspiration from live action crime dramas like Heat. I've never seen that. The aesthetic makes heavy use of high contrast lighting, intense neon glows, and distinct overexposed flash frames during blaster fire and combat. And we saw that. And we talked about that over the weeks, that a lot of scenes in this show would not be near as intense if they hadn't been framed and drawn at night. You guys, the care that went into making this masterpiece, it translates beautifully to the fans. Every single week we were on the edge of our seats. Every single week we were deep diving, finding new pieces of dialogue, finding new animated frames, finding new reasons why this show is that show. Okay, so that was my third major idea for why I feel this show was incredible, things that it gave us. My fourth thing. Risks that paid off. Star Wars stories that take risks and ebb away from your typical good versus evil, Jedi versus Sith are interesting to me and to most of us. That's why I love Andor, Skeleton Crew, Last Jedi Force dyad stuff, Mandalorian, etc. When Star Wars projects decide to take a risk, I am sat. Not because I'm bored, but because people throw around the word galaxy a little too quickly. A galaxy doesn't just involve planets and moons and stars and asteroids and whatever. You are talking about cultures, languages, different traditions, belief systems, family cores. You are talking about fashion and history, music. What is happening on Earth is happening on dozens of different planets. So what's normal on Coruscant is not normal on Ord Mantell. What's really culturally significant on Hoth, you will not find on Yavin 4. You know what I mean? And so when we see things that are not typical or that maybe take a little bit of a risk, I'm here for it. And so we saw that in Maul. There were things that we had never seen before on screen. And I loved those moments. It forces the audience to question what they believe in when they are shown a story of bad versus worse. This show gave us immersive storytelling where we weren't really sure why we were rooting for the bad guy, right? The way he was moving in the first 2 episodes, you were like, oh, yo. But then when we see him later in the show, you're like, oh, yo. Like, you go through this emotional roller coaster with the character, and that is cool to me. That was a risk that highly paid off. There wasn't anything that felt unnatural. Every piece fit, every end was tied, every T was crossed, every I was dotted. I did not feel cheated as a viewer with this finale or with the intro. There was no filler episodes. There was no unintentional moments. I mean, even when people were like, oh, there's way too much Riley and Captain Lawson, I bet you wish there was more Captain Lawson now. I bet you do. None of us saw his death coming, at least I didn't. So now when you rewatch the show, those moments are even more gut-wrenching. Those fleeting looks, those random lines of dialogue, those, oh, I love you, son, hits even harder because the risk paid off. So those are my 4 major reasons why this show was incredible. Number 1, again, was the score. It expanded Maul's story, the animation advancements, and risks that paid off. So what was my favorite episode besides the finale? Because the finale is The Dark Lord was a huge slay, huge risk that paid off, huge reward. It made the cut. As far as the edits go, I've been seeing Dark Lord Vader edits from that episode day and night. But what was my favorite episode besides the finale? Chapter 8, The Creeping Fear. I'm going to read this because otherwise I'll mess it up because my brain is just going a million miles a minute, as y'all can tell. We're only 20 minutes in and I've just like yap-fested, dumped all of this on you. Chapter 8, The Creeping Fear. Seeing a Star Wars project take on the massive subject of mental health using a fallen Sith Lord as a vessel was absolute genius. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And maybe it's just because I haven't read a lot of Sith stories. I haven't read Revan. I haven't read Plagueis. There's a lot of books out there that do explore Sith stories, but we haven't seen it on screen. And so as a primarily screen viewer, I'm slowly making my way through the books, but give me time. It's way easier to sit down and watch a TV show than it is to read a whole book, depending on who you ask, but we're asking me, and that's what I say. Using a Sith Lord to explore this heavy topic of mental health. We've never seen that before, so I loved that part of the episode. I felt deep, stirred emotions for someone I would absolutely be rooting against every day in the real world. It shed light on the fact that Palpatine has always been the number one bad guy. He always will be. And this show cemented my trust in Star Wars, that it has the ability to tell compelling stories through animation. I didn't question it before, but now I feel it can't be argued. Like, if you are one that's like, Star Wars animation is for the kids, I don't like Star Wars animation. Star Wars ended in the 80s. Bruh! Red flag. He's over there, officer. Take him away. Y'all, you cannot tell me that Star Wars animated stories aren't good after watching this show. And not only are they good, this is the standard. This is the standard. So that's what I wrote to conclude. Overall, we are in good hands. The creators of this show understand how to create relatable moments and characters that we cannot help but root for until the bitter end. I can't wait to see more projects like this, and this show really is the new standard. I thought Andor was in a box all by itself. Scoot over, because Andor is the king of Star Wars live action TV, and now Maul is the king of Star Wars animated TV. In my book, in my opinion, at the Village Jedi. So that's pretty much all I had to say. I wanted to wrap it up, give Maul, his flowers in a little bow. Thank you for being the main topic of my discussion these last 5 weeks. Thank you guys for listening. Now let's shift. Let's take a little hike. The Mandalorian and Grogu hype. Some of you who are listening, it's Friday. I recognize that. By the time I post this, the day is half over. Some of you have seen it. And Grant gave me a call this morning and was like, I'm scared. I'm scared to watch this movie. And I was like, did you see spoilers? He said no, but he did see that Rotten Tomatoes, it's not doing very good. I told him don't trust those because a lot of times there's review bombers who haven't even seen the film and they're already rating it poorly. He said, you're right. But some of you out there have already seen the film, you've made up your mind, and maybe it's not good. And I have to brace myself for that. I already stated this last week. I'm not going to be one of those fans that's like, everything is perfect. I love Star Wars. Star Wars, everything is incredible. Oh my word. If it's Star Wars, I'm sad. Because sometimes there are projects that I'm not a huge fan of. So I have to be open to the fact that there could be aspects of this movie that I don't love. But you know what? Something we did say on the phone, at least we have a movie. At least we're back in the theater watching Star Wars. And that alone is exciting. I'm all dressed up. I'm ready to go. It's bringing my family together. Like, it's something we're going to go see. My dad's on vacation right now, but when he gets back, we're going to go watch it together. Like, it is something that families can do together. We are putting Star Wars back where it belongs, and that is in movie theaters. It also belongs on Disney Plus, as we just saw with Maul, as we see with Andor, as we see with other projects. But you can't be watching a Star Wars project in theaters surrounded by other fans like that. Awesome. So I'm trying to get hyped. Like I said, T-minus 2.5 hours. Let's roll. In order to get ready for this movie, I obviously watched the final episode. The Mandalorian, it has 3 seasons. And so since I'm going to see the movie soon, I wanted to see kind of where we left off. I've been trying to dodge spoilers, so there's not too much to say about that besides what we covered in my Mandalorian and Grogu trailer episode, which you guys really appreciate, by the way. Like, every few days I'll see that someone listened to it or someone's watching that episode, and it makes me really happy. So thank you for supporting the show. And I hope you enjoyed that episode. So this is kind of more of just like a brief recap of that final episode if you are in the same boat as me and was just like, wait, where did we leave off? Like, it's been so long since I've seen that. I don't really remember. Okay, this is for you. Just a brief recap kind of going into the movie. My plan, as I said, dress it up, watch it twice. Mando finale. There were 3 seasons. From the first moment we saw Grogu, I knew this was going to be a good show. If you were one of the favorite fans and you listened to the Empire Radio guest episode I did last week, I put that in my top 2 Star Wars moments of all time, was remembering where I was when I was the moment I saw Grogu, the moment we all did. It was episode 1 of The Mandalorian, November 12th, 2019, 5.5 years ago. We met Din and Grogu. It was the day Disney Plus launched. And when I saw that little froggy hand and those big ears, I knew this is going to be good. What is Disney going to do with Star Wars on this platform? More of this. So, fast forward, the saga ends up coming to a close April 19th, 2023. That's 2 years ago. So now here we are. The show featured altogether a lot of side quests, which week to week was kind of challenging at times, but now that you can sit down and just binge it, it's fun. The episodes are fun. There's a lot of cute, wholesome moments throughout the whole show, even those filler episodes. Season 1, the main storyline is Din deciding whether or not to turn Grogu over to the Imperials and then ultimately fighting over him on Navarro against Moff Gideon. And then we see the Darksaber at the end of Season 1 and we were all like, oh my god, the Darksaber. Crazy moment in history. Season 2, Grogu's a Jedi. What does that mean? Return him to his kind or train him as a Mandalorian watch foundling. We end up fighting against Moff Gideon again. Luke shows up and Grogu goes with the Jedi. Season 2.5, which was during Book of Boba, Din gets Grogu back and begins his Mandalorian training. Season 3, what it means to be a Mandalorian. We're restoring Din's honor. We're inducting Bo-Katan. There's this final battle for the clan's survival, a mission to retake Mandalore as a home. And then Din adopts Grogu, and Grogu is officially now a Mandalorian apprentice. And he takes the name Din Grogu, which we'll get into. We learned throughout the show that the main antagonist, Moff Gideon, his main mission was to acquire Grogu in order to extract his Force-sensitive blood, the midichlorians. He planned to use this in order to engineer an army of unstoppable Force-wielding clones of himself, which ultimately led to him wanting to seize control of the whole galaxy, reestablish the Empire under his own leadership. So Palpatine is gone, scoot over, I'm taking his place. Me and my Force-sensitive, Beskar-wearing clone army. Which, I'm not afraid to admit, I love myself. I have a healthy self-appreciation. I don't know if I would want to be surrounded by clones of myself who were stronger than me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's conceited to say. I just know that I would not appreciate that. Sometimes I think it would be kind of fun to have a twin, but can you imagine a whole army of you and they're all force sensitive and you're not? That's a little sketch to me. I could see it if he was force sensitive, because then at least he could like have an idea of what's going on in their mind, you know? Like, but if you are not force sensitive at all, they could all be like having a force conversation. We've been seeing that. If you're linked to each other, you can like send each other the vibes through the force. But if everyone's in the know except you and you're the one that's supposed to be in control, that kind of sounds like it was going to fail anyways. So that's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Don't spend it all in one place. We learn that he establishes a secret base on Mandalore, sort of to carry out this Beskar bodyguard army plan. He's based in Mandalore because he needs an unlimited supply of Beskar in order to make all of their Mandalorian armor. Okay, we get into the last episode, chapter 24, The Return. The return of Mandalorians to Mandalore. Right away, I'm hyped. I watched this yesterday, sat down, had my laptop, typing, click, 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 clack. This movie is going to be so much fun. The Mandalorian Grogu. I already know. And I'm like, I'm putting that into the universe. You know, I'm like, this movie's going to be great. Low-key, I'm like, this movie's going to be great, right? Like, I'm just being real. I'm just trying to keep it real with you guys. All right. The show emphasizes one of Star Wars' greatest appeals, which is found families, a sense of belonging, purpose. What is my purpose in this story? And each character moves that way through the show. What am I doing here? What do I care about? What's important to me? And that's why we see so many dynamic characters throughout the show. You're kind of tapping in like, oh, what's going on here? What are you up to? Oh, cool. Like, you're moving up in the world. We see that with everyone. So the Battle of Mandalore for Mandalore continues because the Mandalorians have come home. They want to take it back, but Moff Gideon's kind of stationed there with his baddies. And he's like, yeah, if you want Mandalore, you're going to have to go through me. And Bo-Katan's got the Darksaber. She's like, oh, I plan to. So she's got all the Mandalorians. She's united the clans, and now they're fighting for the rights to take back their planet from this. I just had this thought. Have you guys ever heard of squatters? It's a term, at least that we use around here. It's basically when a homeless person breaks into an unoccupied area and lives there when they shouldn't be. Typically like a house that's on the market and it hasn't sold yet, or an apartment that's pending, something like that. Like you're a squatter. You're somewhere where you shouldn't be because that's not, you don't own the right to be there. So the Mandalorian clans are sort of going up against Moff Gideon, the Squatter King. So that's kind of how I'm vibing here. Din is being taken away. That's how the episode opens. He's rescued by a hijacked IG Grogu, which I like to think of as improved Grogu. We see like he kind of refurbished this IG droid to be able to get around quicker, you know, and he has like voice buttons that he uses to communicate a little bit. Super cute. Bo-Katan and her squad are under attack. Din goes to look for Gideon, and all three of these characters have such fun dynamics to watch on screen. Watching Din and Bo interact and then throwing Grogu in there. I'm telling y'all, join the dark side. Join the dark side. King Din Djarin, Queen Bo-Katan, and their little prince son Din Grogu. Come on, I'm always accepting. What does Shrek say? Join the club. We've got jackets. That's how I feel. Okay. Cut back to Gideon. He has spikes on his helmet, which I was thinking he shouldn't even have a helmet at all, right? Google described him as having a deep mocking obsession with Mandalorian culture. Basically, maybe these horns could be a way to remind, sort of like in a mocking way, that, hey, do you remember when a Zabrak Dothmerian basically took over Mandalore and even he ruled you guys, even though he wasn't even a Mandalorian? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. And they're like, no, never again. All right, so I did write down, that is kind of cool, that it happened once, it can happen again. Having a non-Mandalorian by blood ruler, he wants to rule Mandalore and the galaxy. It's sort of a cool connection to the Maul Shadow Lord show. It's just cool that we're getting these stories so close together, you know. All right, so then we see these kind of red ray shield shots of Din. He's working with Grogu and R5 to make his way toward Gideon for that final battle. So far, Din has come to terms that not all droids are bad, which is really nice, a great addition to his character. Din destroys Gideon's clone chamber, and so now we get into a time of all times, which is a somehow Palpatine returned discussion. He sees all these clones of Gideon in these test tubes. The creators of this show and Bad Batch, let me just yank over the soapbox, take a couple little steps, somehow Palpatine return, class is in session. Here's how I feel. The creators of this show and Bad Batch, they worked together to create stories that would lead toward the understanding of how and why Palpatine returned. That's not the main reason that we got either of these shows, but it is the reason why one of the largest parts of both of these shows is protecting a child from an Imperial's mission to extract their blood and midichlorians to create Force-sensitive clones. As we see in Bad Batch, Project Necromancer, Dr. Lawson, that's kind of his whole thing. Is it Lawson? Hemlock. Dr. Hemlock is trying to make clones for Palpatine using the Force-sensitive kids. And now Moff Gideon is trying to make clones of himself using Force-sensitive Grogu. So, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, at the time, it made no sense because it was before these shows. So, they really had to kind of work overtime to try and provide fans the science and the context that they could buy into. Like, oh, somehow Palpatine returned and he's a clone of himself. They wanted these two shows to work together to sort of show, like, no, that happened. Like, that's not a reach, because little do we know, this is actually kind of what the Imperials were working on the side, their crazy science project. But that movie had already come out before these shows did. And so the concept of these shows trying to work overtime to make us appreciate that line and that concept, that final battle in episode 9, make it make sense. That's what these two shows are doing. So it's not really subtle at all. We love both these shows for more than just they help make episode 9 make sense. But because we love them for more than that, that shows you how well done they were. It can be argued that that was the main reason for both of those shows. Like, that's their main storyline, is protecting the kids from the midichlorian power-hungry Imperial scientists. But we also got lovable characters, great music scores. So, you know, take it or leave it. Let's put the soapbox away. That's all I got. Okay. Bo-Katan is the vessel to connect the two clans, so I kind of hope that she's in the new movie. I don't know why she would be, because bounty hunting isn't really part of her story, but it would be cool, especially because Katie Sackhoff said in an interview that Bo-Katan's story isn't done, so it would be kind of cool if we did see her maybe in Ahsoka Season 2, saw her in the new movie. I don't know. I just would love to see her because I do love her. We get kind of some cool shots from this episode. Great costumes, great score, all the jetpacks. It's super sweet seeing the Mandalorians fly around. They're just so cool. And then we get this cool shot where the armorer flies up by Bo-Katan and then she takes out the Darksaber, holds it up, and then just like keeps flying. Dope. It's just dope. Mandalorians are just cool to look at. That's what made Boba Fett take off in the 80s, was he was just this rando side character in the background, and all the fans were like, George, who's your friend? You know, like, my friend over there wanted me to tell you she thinks you're cute. Like, that's how all the fans were moving when they saw Bo-Katan in The Empire Strikes Back, or when they saw Boba Fett. So now we have this whole show dedicated to the Mandalorians, why they're cool, their culture, their belief system, their traditions, their honor, all of it. And it's just cool. Their design is so sleek. I just love, and now we get a whole movie. I'm excited. T-minus 2.5 hours, 2 hours. Let's roll. Okay, so the attack begins. Gideon sort of has these makeshift Mandalorians that fight against the real ones. We cut back to Din, who's still hunting for Gideon himself. Gideon finds him. His suit is still a little mechanical and blocky, which for me is just, again, another reference to reinforce his desire to be a real Mandalorian, but he's fake. He's low-key fake. Don't trust him. Bo-Katan and Gideon engage in this battle. She uses the Darksaber. He uses this Beskar pink electro staff. The fight is for Mandalore. Whoever wins this duel, because Bo-Katan wants to win for the Mandalorians to live here again. And Moff wants to win so that he can continue using it as his secret base, continue on with his super secret plan. Gideon ends up crushing the Darksaber hill, and I wrote down that my artifact-loving heart was crushed too, because do you know how old that thing is? Do you know how much history that thing carried? Thrawn would be screaming. My little ring light just died. I was like, hey, yo. Okay, anyways. He ends up ripping off her helmet, which to me seems like the ultimate disrespect to any Mandalorian. If you ripped off their helmet, bruh. What if they took the creed? Anyways. Din comes to her rescue because he's her husband, so no one was shocked. I especially was not shocked. I was squealing. Axe Woves. He is one of Bo-Katan's followers. He courageously pilots this massive Mandalorian capital shift, this huge compromised cruiser right into Moff Gideon's base of operations. He has this fiery ball of destruction. It disintegrates Gideon. Grogu ends up using the Force to protect his parents since Bo-Katan's dinner plate shield wasn't going to work. Like, she's like holding her arm up and the shield is literally the size of a dinner plate. Like, girl, I appreciate the act, but like, just hug your husband. Goodbye. Like, just pull a Cassian Jyn situation. Anyways. But Grogu saved them, so it worked out. This would have been a really cool shot to see in theaters, by the way. We cut to the Mandalorians at the Holy Water. Everyone is gathered for an induction ceremony. Din legally adopts Grogu as his son. And the armorer says, "You are now Din Grogu, Mandalorian apprentice." Grogu is named Din Grogu rather than Grogu Jaren, according to Google, due to his cultural naming conventions for foundlings. Because Din Djarin is not a blood-based Mandalorian, he's not born Mandalorian, but rather a foundling raised by the Children of Watch, the surname comes before the given name. This family is heavily inspired by real-world East Asian and European cultures where the family name is spoken or written first. When Grogu is officially adopted into Din Djarin's clan, he inherits Din as his family name, making him Din Grogu to reflect his new lineage. Grogu, using the Force, connects to the Mythosaur, who is a Force creature. I wrote that. What does this mean? Again, according to Google, there is an ancient Mandalorian legend that the awakening and taming of this beast, which was believed to be extinct, will usher in a new era and signal the rise of a new Mandalore, the supreme leader who will unite the scattered Mandalorian clans. So now let's get into this a little bit. Let's break it down, debrief, debunk. The Mandalorians are all back on Mandalore. The Mythosaur is awake. Bo-Katan made eye contact with it. But this prophecy says not only is it going to be awake, but it's going to be tamed. So, who is going to be the supreme leader? I would love it to be Din, because again, the hero who doesn't want to be the hero ends up being the one we needed. However, I also would not be shocked if the direction that this story was aiming at is that Grogu is the Mandalore. He is the Mandalorian. Like, if you ask me, from episode 1 until the very finale of episode 3, where he becomes a legally recognized member of the Mandalorians as a whole, the show is called The Mandalorian. It's Grogu. And so when we watch the movie, and the movie is titled The Mandalorian and Grogu, friend, Grogu is the Mandalorian in my book. And so again, I give to the crowd. I would have loved for this movie to be called This Is the Way. That would have been elite. Okay, we now cut to Din. He's speaking with pilot Carson Teva of the New Republic. He sets up for this new movie now. Rewatching it, it all makes sense. By saying, Din is saying this to Carson, you don't have the resources to protect the Outer Rim, let alone hunt down Imperial remnants, and I need work. So this is a case-by-case basis as an independent contractor working for the New Republic under the table. And rewatching this scene got me so hyped for the movie because at first I remember watching the trailer and then, we talked about it in my episode. I was kind of like, okay, like cool. But now if I would have rewatched this episode before I did that trailer debrief, I would have been so much more hyped for the movie because it just dovetails perfectly. There's going to be no time jump. We're just jumping right back in, picking up where we left off. Carson picks up the phone. Din, there's trouble, the galaxy needs you, and they jump into their cute little ship and fly off into the sunset. Okay, we head back to Navarro. Din receives a deed to his safe cabin, a home base for Between Adventures. IG-11 is fully restored. There's this full circle moment. Everyone's clapping. He's the new marshal. And the show sort of ends zooming out on this happy single dad and his son playing in the pond. At first, you're kind of like, that's it? But it actually works out perfectly for the movie that's about to be coming out. So that is that. That was the finale of The Mandalorian, headed into the new movie. I will be seeing it in T-minus 2 hours. I am very excited to watch this episode. I'm about to upload it for you guys. Happy Friday. And we don't have any letters to read today, so let's just go ahead and get into the nerdy outro. This is where the fun ends. My only hope is you enjoyed, and I will yap at you guys again next Friday. Bye! I was on something else today. The energy is a little crazy.
This has been The Village Jedi. Thank you so much for listening. To support this show, please leave a rating or review wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Go check out the YouTube channel or send me an email to be read and discussed on air. You can also tell a fellow nerd to build the community. I mean this in the nerdiest way possible. May the Force be with you.